innovative lithium-ion electric cycle. We are here with Mr. Manikandan, the co-founder and managing director of Milltex Engineers Pvt Ltd. Welcome, Mr. Manikandan.
Thank you.
Tell us about the company Milltex and what is the vision of the company?
See, we are a typical family business that started evolving in the late 1970s. When I joined in 2000, we were actually catering machineries to the need of the jute mills in India as well as in Bangladesh. But as I started to understand my company, I realized that we've built an organization which could not just make machinery, we could make anything that moves or anything that needed a few gears, had the energy from a motor. It could be purely mechanical, it could be electrical, it could be electronics added. We built a capability. So it was that spark which kept getting back in my mind.
Right.
So I've always been clear that the environment needs to be protected because we are borrowers. We basically have borrowed it from the past. So you basically need to keep it strong so that the future generations have something called the world that we live in.
Right.
3 years back I set up a team. I said a bunch of young engineers. I said the target is very clear. We do something in mobility and we always want to think renewable at the back of that.
Right.
We realized that the network was not there.
Right.
Then we realized that the regulations were very, very strict. So it's going to take a long time for us to evolve that into a business model. And then we realized that looking back at the traffic that existed in major cities, they needed a reason to find an alternate form of commuting. What better than a cycle? We said, let's do one thing. Let's make a cycle which is electrically powered and then slowly start moving into the market by giving in better products.
Right. So what are the features of these cycles that make it stand apart from the others?
First thing we said, we'll not touch lead acid batteries. The batteries need to be phased off. We said we'll stick to lithium ion. We evaluated nickel cadmium. We said we'll not even touch that. Saying lithium ion has the capability to replace crude oil in energy management per se. Smaller, higher density, and if a good recycling system is in place, it keeps the world much, much safer.
Right.
We wanted to make a product which is available in the global market, but should be made available to the Indians also. So we said we'll make absolutely no compromises. So in came the thought process of the product. We didn't have a name that time. We only called it as Project E-Cycle, nothing else. We started there and we realized that the Indians wanted to cycle, but also would enjoy the support that the cycle would give them when it is energized. And then comes the last side of people who said, I don't want to cycle. I'm tired of cycling. Can I just not throttle away? So we wanted all three to be there.
Right.
And then we realized that the pedal assist, which could be featured into the cycle, would be a very, very unique feature into the link between the cycle and the scooter or the motorcycle. Your energy of pedaling should be coupled by the power that the motor should provide and give you a larger distance.
Right.
People wanted to understand if the batteries could be detachable. We said, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You have multi-story buildings now, and you do not have enough charging stations. So we've packaged in a product which ensures that it is detachable. At the same time, it's waterproof and it is also capable enough to handle the temperatures.
Yeah.
So the battery is not bought off the shelf.
Okay.
We work with global lithium-ion battery manufacturers, pick the batteries from them, and we've got our own design. So we've got a good battery pack now, reasonably good enough to handle the requirements or the discharge that a cycle needs.
Right.
Then came the interface. Today's e-cycles do not have interface. You probably have to add a speedometer and add a sensor to understand at what speed you're going. Globally, e-cycles come with displays.
Right.
And we wanted a feature in that for two reasons. One is to give you a lot of opportunity to interact with the cycle. So that means I can tell my cycle what I want to do with the cycle. I can cap speeds, I can check my trips, I can check the temperature of the environment, I can check the capacity of the motor and the temperature of the motor. So if the motor is overheating, there are features inbuilt which will trigger the motor off.
Wow.
But you would know that the motor is actually overheating if you continuously keep integrating yourself or interfacing with the display. Any errors that are there, automatically you have got codes. The manual is very illustrative enough. You'll just have to look back at the manual and understand what exactly is the problem.
Okay.
So we made a product which will be carryable to any part of the world with just change of documentation. With that intent is where the whole project was evolved, it started working, and finally came the name.
Right.
So we did a lot of toiling to get the name. And what better than having a Latin meaning to it. So Spero evolved because Latin it says hope. So we are hoping that the product that we start with gives you a better tomorrow. So
Awesome.
Everything started to sink in, and the moment we got the name Spero, we said things are falling in place. Let's hit the market.
How do you see the product evolving in the next 2 years or so?
Cycles, of course, will be a major focus because there are two aspects to it. One, it helps you reach the place.
Right.
So there's a base of mobility is taken care of. Second is you automatically start to be physically fit. Make cycling more fun. Make it more user friendly. We can keep adding, we can keep mounting technologies to it. And next stage, we eventually will probably move into a powerful scooterette or motorcycle.
Okay.
That's going to take a long time because we need to really understand how quick the networks are going to evolve. Or we probably have to wait for lithium-ion energy efficiency to go up dramatically. In the meantime, we'll evolve the product. We have a couple of two-wheelers in the mind, a couple of designs in mind, which we are toying with.
Okay.
Maybe over the next 9 to 12 months, we would have prototypes of them running here and there, trying out to help us understand how it functions. We want to really test the product before we bring it to the market. We have done this with Spero, and we would definitely do that before we move on to the next stage. And when we say product, we are talking very, very simply a product made in India for the Indian mass, but with a definite capability of selling anywhere in the world.
We at PluginIndia hold the concept of decentralization and open sourcing in high regard. Tell us more about crowdfunding. How did you think about financing the product using crowdfunding?
So one fine day I get a call from a gentleman called Ranganath. He says, I was referred your name by somebody. I'm told that you're making an electric cycle and you probably might make more electric devices. We would like to talk to you.
Wow.
And he saw the product. He was sold on the product. He said, if I'm not doing this on my crowdfunding platform, I'm basically a loser. We took that risk of going into the crowdfunding thought process for two reasons. One, we wanted to see what the consumer perception was. Because we are getting into a market from industrial manufacture to the consumer market.
Yes.
So we wanted to understand how the psyche of the consumer is also. So this platform would give us that opportunity. Second, it also would give us a definite confirmation of a few orders at least. So crowdfunding thoughts actually happened by an accident, but it turned out to be revolutionary. It is India's first crowdfunded electric cycle.
Wow.
Now, post crowdfunding, we are evaluating varied forms of trying to position the product into the market. But we know for a fact that we want to be in about 140 cities in India in the next 36 months. We would go into the main metros and happening cities in the country first, and we would follow the smart city campaign that the government of India is pushing across. And the feedback that we've had is tremendous. So we are actually working overtime to evolve our thoughts and to keep the product as easily reachable and accessible to the consumer. Not only in terms of product selling, but also in terms of support, in terms of mentoring. It's very, very critical that the consumer actually is very close to us in terms of knowledge sharing.
Yes.
They are the people who are actually using the product. So we would like to hear from them as to how we can keep refining. So to evolve that, we think we will use multiple forms to be close to them. Social media, definitely. We would like to have a network where we probably are physically present there ourselves or through like-minded people. There are several happening cities or countries in Asia where we would like to be. We would definitely like to be in Europe, which is the most happening place for electric cycles. Germany is coming up with a highway which will only have cycles. Amazing thing to happen for us. It's going to take some time for us to reach out to a place like Germany. Once we are satisfied that we've been comfortable with probably a few thousand Indian customers, then it makes sense for us to look outside India also.
Right.
But one thing we would like to commit is that electric mobility, we are there. and we would back up with several other thoughts. How do we make the power source available from renewable sources?
Okay.
We would like to talk to people who can help us install community charging stations which run on renewable power, and then connect them to our existing customer lines.
Yes.
So not only are we looking at our product, we would like the entire industry to gain from the infrastructure.
Definitely.
In a larger perspective, when a thermal power station produces power, the pollution is closely centered and it can be better controlled.
Yes.
But when it comes to mobility, it's a large landmass. So it's difficult to understand tail emissions and to control them.
Yes.
So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it, yes, we do agree that the sources of electricity may not be as green as what it ideally can be. So why not think of that also?
Sure.
We would ideally like to work with people who have solar stations. Government has got a long vision. They are, I think, talking about 100 gigawatt of solar power by 2022. Somewhere down the line, we would definitely need a portion of that to power our electric mobility vehicles. That would be something that we would definitely like to be committed to.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you.
We wish you and your company the very best.
Thanks a lot.
And we look forward to see Spero on roads.
Coming there very soon.